Dear guests, please take your seats and get your notebooks ready as we are starting the next session that will unveil the strategies for growing a loyal trading community. Please give a warm welcome to our moderator, Andrea Badiola Mateos, Chief Commercial Officer at Magnates Group, who will introduce her panel. Dear Andrea, dear speakers, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for all of the speakers. We have an amazing list of panelists here that are all experts on the topic. Community growth is hot. It's something that is being talked about non-stop these days. Engagement, increasing loyalty, it's something that every brand strives to do. So I'm really hoping that from the discussion here, the audience can take very actionable insights as to how to help their businesses keep their communities engaged and grow them. So without further ado, I'm going to ask you to introduce each of you yourselves, because nobody can do it better than yourselves. Just briefly. Thank you.
Pavlina Papalouka. Is it working? No. Hello. Hi. Hi, I'm Pavlina Papalouka. I'm a brand marketing consultant for companies and personal brands, and I help companies grow their client base, trust, credibility through branding, social media, community building strategies. This is what I do.
Perfect. Elena.
Hello. Awesome. Now it works. Hello. First of all, thank you, IFExpo, for having this panel today. Indeed, I couldn't agree more. This is a super hot topic, and I'm very thankful that you invited me to participate. So you can see behind, my name is Elena Christodoulou. I am the head of Europe for Markets.com, which is a Forex and CFD broker who's been in the industry for a lot of years.
Thank you, Elena. Perfect. Evgeny.
Well, my name is Evgeny. I'm working for Aleph Group as the regional marketing manager, and what we do basically is helping our partners, the biggest advertising platforms, to grow in many countries and regions. And I'm working with the clients and discovering some success stories and sharing it.
Wonderful.
Hello everyone, my name is Styliana Charalambous. I started my career as a chartered certified accountant, but then I discovered the financial markets and I fell in love with them, the stock market and everything. And I discovered that we can create more sources of income, so I created Selfmade Academy. I'm the CEO and founder, and I help people to get financially literate and live a better life.
Thank you, Styliana. Niki?
Hi everyone, I'm Niki from Contentworks. We're a content and social and communications agency for Forex, fintechs, neobanks. We've done a lot of work with different community building initiatives within that sector.
Thank you all for being brief as well, so we can dive right into the topic. I'm going to open up by starting with a kind of a new trend or new way of social trading. So we have all been exposed to the classic way of social trading by multiple brokers in the industry, but there is a spin to it that has been introduced whereby the traders would not be following, let's say, popular traders or the biggest ones or somebody that is making a lot of money, but they would be, first of all, analyzing their own trades, learning from those, and their own friends. So they're creating their own sort of community, and they're not necessarily following a so-called popular trader. How do you think that brokers can benefit from this? And how do you think that these can be taken to the next level? Is this a trend to stay? Who wants to start? Niki?
So I think it's definitely a trend that we're seeing growing, and we're not talking about copy trading, we're talking about social trading, as you well said, Andrea. And it's a great way to do all the things that you want to do. What is it that you want to do? You want to acquire clients, you want to engage with those clients, you want to grow their trading volumes, and you want to retain those clients. And this is where a community can really help with that. So how do we do that? And let me just be very quick about it. So acquisition. How do you acquire clients with your community? You have a community in which maybe you have a kind of gated approach. So for example, you can get a certain level of access. Once you're a deposited client, you get further access into that community. That community is constantly active, and if you engage with them and listen to them and reply to them and are very well engaged with them, then you can really continue to help them grow. And when you are looking to retain clients, it's a twofold thing. One is to keep them trading, and the other one is to keep them trading with you. because you don't want them switching over to another broker. How do you keep them trading? You have a constant trade flow of ideas. How do you keep them to stay with you? You grow them as through their reputation. You give them rewards. And once they grow that reputation and they become sort of better known within your community, they're less likely to move over as well. And of course, volumes, in terms of trading volumes, that comes through that constant flow of trading ideas.
Thank you. Evgeny wanted to add something before.
Yes, look, we working with few platforms, which I believe is very effective in terms of the community building. This is X and Reddit. Both of these platforms are very popular among a lot of traders. They're looking for the signals, they're looking for the news just to get it in the real time, just get it in time to make a decision, first of all, and to make actions, of course. And looking on the Reddit, for example, this is the home of many communities and a lot of trading companies, same as like trading unions, some people who believe that someone understands the market, they're making their own communities there, and they're building this trust, and they're doing something together. We all know this very interesting stories on Reddit about how it changed the, let's say, share stock, or how it affected the different companies. And it's very nice for us as the company who working with them to understand it, and that's why we also trying to help some of the customers to use this platform to utilize it as well. But content is important, and engagement is super important as well. And that's, I think, the most beneficial part, that you can do it as a broker. You can do it as the company who is of investors, if you want to invest into something, to find a community that will match your demand, and you can do it, of course.
Styliana, yes?
Yes, I would like to add that social trading can promote transparency between users. And also, I would like to mention an example. If you all remember what happened with Reddit, a group, that a number of people were able to beat huge hedge funds and make more money than them, because they decided to create this community and engaging with each other with a friendly competition, let's say. It helps also the brokers to stay up to date with the new trends.
Thank you. Elena?
All eyes on me, because I'm the only one from a broker. And from our perspective as well also, it's a very cost-efficient tool, because you have the community that's constantly putting out content, keeping users, traders engaged without us having much to do. Now, of course, this also has risks. So in my humble opinion, I think it's also in the interest of the broker to do some moderation there, because we also have to protect our users. Bear in mind that there might be people that they are very outside, that they are very vocal about their strategies and stuff. So it's also our responsibility to make sure that they have a strategy that has some risk management behind. So this is also an aspect I would like to emphasize here, that it's just not people sharing and doing. We're talking about trading, we're talking about people's funds, so there also needs to be some sort of check-up, let's say, from our perspective, to make sure that there is some kind of protection for our traders.
I want to just touch on that, because I think that's really important, obviously compliance, and also Evgeny and Styliana were talking about platforms like Reddit, and yes, there are those platforms and TradingView that you can use, but you can also take on your own platforms, more dedicated ones like Rocket, for example, who are doing very good business down in Australia with IC Markets. And there you can, what is it you're looking for in a platform? You're looking for great user engagement, you're looking for marketing abilities, the ability to do subgroups, but also very important to be doing compliance and moderation, and how you can put those controls in place and how you can audit them. So later on, if a trader does come back and go, hey, but you guys said, you can go, well, you signed the disclaimer that understood that we're not giving you trading advice, so.
I want to come back to something that Evgeny, you just mentioned, because I think it's a very, very key fact. You mentioned real time, and you mentioned news, and you mentioned how all of this community needs to be on top of everything real time, live. So there is communities that are being built outside of the platforms where they trade at, the brokers, for example, for the sake of having this sense of belonging. But at the same time, we do see, and I can speak for ourselves as Finance Magnates, because we own Forex Live as a brand. So we're a real-time news website, we have the RSS feed, and we collaborate with brokers in order to provide them this real-time feed. And we see an increasing demand, like in the last year, is just exponential as to the need for this kind of engagement within the brokers platform, so that they keep them in, because Reddit, X, etc., they have been building all of these communities, but that doesn't quite help the brokers. It helps them in a sense of creating awareness, etc. But once the client is acquired, to retain them and not leave the platform, there is more and more features that are live, that are real time, that are being added into the broker's interface in order for the traders to be able to stay in there and find there the reason to belong. I don't know, I see you smiling, Elena, but I don't know if you agree with me.
I'm just thinking FOMO, like fear of missing out. You want to give them the feeling that if you don't trade now, there are hot news coming in, you need to always look at your app, you need to be always aware. So you create like this urge and the fear of missing out on the next trade. And if you're a community, I think this fear comes even stronger, because you don't want to have anybody in the community saying, oh, I opened this trade, I made so much profit, oh, you missed it. So I think this is like this real-time, this a bit of being all the time on top of the markets.
Oh, I see all of you have something to say. Maybe let's start in order. Niki?
I think you make a good point about your platforms like Reddit. I kind of see the work that you might do there as being more outreach, but if a broker wants to have a kind of dedicated community, then that's something they should be looking to build in-house with more dedicated platforms. I know IC Markets have been very successful with that. They managed to grow their community to 3,000 in 2 months organically. So,
Styliana, you had something to add as well?
Yes, I believe real-time content is very important, because whoever is involved with the financial markets knows that things change all the time. We have an event happening, then in half an hour something else happens, and how people trade is how they should trade is very different. But also brokers can introduce live webinars, for example, before a big event, so they can explain to the traders and investors what will happen in the market and what impact it can have to their trades.
Well, I would say a few things. So I see the very big trend that all the trading organizations, they are building their own community inside. They're building it around the tickers, who are, like, top people are talking about them. They're showing their signals, showing their portfolio, how they're growing, and so on. And I think it's also important. It helps, first of all, brokers to build the awareness, build the community inside, educate, and control the discussion, what is happening inside. This is very important for brokers, first of all. And at the same time, it allows brokers to build trust, to build the community inside, and to educate their own traders how to do it, what they need to do. And of course, by education, they're also pushing a lot of efforts to make their own communication platforms inside more popular. I recently, yesterday, just on one of the parties on the iFix, I had a conversation with one guy who's responsible for the AI on one of the trading platforms. And they're working a lot right now to build like a specific community for each user of who they have, basically. Using AI, they make for this person a specific, let's say, personal advices which they can follow or they cannot follow. And that's a big trend right now, and I think it's also increasing. But this is from the perspective of the platforms where people anyway communicate, they track the news, sometimes they just following where they are, where they're spending most of the time, because they don't spend the whole day, for example, on a trading platform, but they spend most of the day, I don't know, maybe on Snapchat, maybe on Reddit mostly. And they are trying to also see something, someone from their friend said something, and they also wants to follow. I'm really interested how it looks like, for example, from markets. Just to continue the conversation.
Of course. Yes, I agree. I think AI will help a lot with customize the products that a broker has to offer. With the help of AI, we'll be able to identify better what the client likes to trade. So based on what the client likes to trade, we can build the educational material around. On another hand, as you said, for the community building. So if we say that we have different categories of trader, then with the help of AI, I understand that we can put them better in communities. And something that a lot of people forget sometimes is that trading is quite a solitary activity. So you sit there, you do your thing all by yourself. And as a broker, we spend so much money to acquire new clients. The most important thing for us is to keep them in the company, to retain them. So with the help of the community, it's much easier to keep them inside and to take away this aspect from solidarity. So they can trade together, they can exchange ideas. They stay longer, they can trade for a longer time because they will have other users that can, for example, review the trades that they place, can review the strategies that they have. So you will have like this active engagement and exchange of ideas.
So I think you touched on all the main points. Maybe I can add something. The fundamentals of building a community are the same in every industry, but this industry is more every day. The news are there every hour. So the fundamentals are education and content, and yes, allow the traders to copy each other and to look at what each other is doing, but monitor and manage the information. As the company should monitor and give the daily trends, the daily news, and then pick the top traders and maybe start a podcast or a daily Q&A session, a daily webinar, something every day where the company manages the news and the trends, because everyone will have opinions, and of course you don't want to allow the blind to lead the blind. You want to have a framework for them, and you want them to feel that you care about them and you care about educating them, and now using AI to give them more specialized signals and education every day. But for me, actually, something that nobody touched is community starts on social media. And I believe in putting some content every day on social media as well to bring people more into the community and also engage them on social media. Because if you don't engage them on the platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and X, Threads, they're going to go and follow these other influencers, and the influencers are going to get them in their communities. And we have a case study in Cyprus the past week that I want to mention. It's from a totally different industry, but this person, when he was 17 years old, he came to a seminar I was running, and he learned about social media, and he decided to become a YouTuber. He's very smart. So,
I think we all know who you're talking about.
So he decided to do a challenge on social media as a YouTuber to go in the parliament. I know him many years, and 2 years ago I said to my mom, this guy will be president one day. Because
he actually won, guys.
Because he's smart. So what is he doing? This is what he's doing. He built community. He gave the news every day. He interviewed people. Okay, and in an area where, like trading, people think that, oh, social media is not relevant, he did it in politics. Everyone made fun of him, and suddenly he's in the European Parliament, and he's giving lessons now on social media.
But you know what he does really well is he listens, and he follows the trends, and he knows what people are engaging with. And I think in a community for a broker can give you that opportunity to hear what your people are saying and to actually... Yeah. I mean, one of the things we discovered is that people they're not following assets. So, if you're doing a campaign that's going, hey, here's what the euro is doing, here's what the USD is doing, they're not that interested in that. What they're interested in is strategies. So if you can get conversations going around those kind of topics and some education involved, especially if you've got good education teams or big IPs that you can get involved in that way.
Yeah, this is what this guy is doing well with his team, is this social listening. Like always listening, always looking at the comments, then he comes up with the content, then he comes up with the interviews. He takes all the top leaders and interviews them. So you can do that in your communities, or you can bring experts or top leaders of communities and then also put them on social media and then give unique content, tell them come in the community, and then you get more unique content every day. But social media is very important because you can lose people there to other people, to these YouTubers who know how to do this, social interaction and social listening. And Phidias, I think it's a great case study for all industries. I don't know. I think people laugh, but for me, it's such a good case study because I know him for 7 years, and I can see he's smart and follows the trends, and every industry can benefit from this. Mm-hmm. And you need to look into these trends.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting case to follow, quite surprising. But I actually have a lot of follow-up questions because you all brought up very, very interesting points. You guys mentioned specific features, you mentioned AI, you mentioned education. So each of them can be like a whole panel. But let me start maybe with the features, okay? So you all mentioned different examples. Is there any specific features that you can see that are more engaging for the community, that are more in demand? And I am also going to ask you to keep in mind, because we all know, I mean, it's a given, that every single region, if we want to take the big picture, every region is different. The nature of the trader, the mentality of the trader is different in every region. So what works in one region may not work in the others. So when you give your answers, maybe if you can specify that as well. Elena, you're thinking, so I'm going to leave you for last. Pavlina, go first.
So for me, the number one feature that works in every single country in the world and still many companies don't realize is content. Content
in what?
can
Written
be
content or?
A podcast, a public podcast where you bring your traders and you interview them, you show the success stories, and can be daily Q&A sessions inside the community. Content. People want content, they're going to find it if you don't give it to them. So if you don't give it to them, they're going to go and find it somewhere else. So you better be on the newsfeed every day. So the newsfeed is TikTok, is YouTube Shorts, YouTube long videos, it's Twitter, X, and then inside your apps, then you have content there that is exclusive, that you give them, let's say, the signals, the trends, but really start the content. Don't gatekeep it only for the community. Show that you know what you're doing and you're giving valuable information wherever they follow you on all the platforms.
Yeah, I absolutely understand, and I agree that content is very important. The problem that we have is, how do you make a trader from reading or listening to a podcast or reading an article to log into the platform, to make a trade and become active?
I think very easily. You need to train the people who run the podcast. It's very easy. The conversion is very easy. That's the top way to get clients now, through this content. Because if they are actually listening to a podcast for 30 minutes, 1 hour, that's the easiest way to sell. And you can throw it in the conversation. You can seed the service and then do some calls to action. And
Perfect.
Give maybe a unique promo code.
I think one of the things that you need to understand with traders globally is that they are on different platforms at different times. In Africa, we've had a lot of success with Facebook, for example, and that's something and that's something that we're not seeing so much in Europe anymore. We do a lot of work with HubSpot, and we've got our HubSpot Ninja, who is part of the HubSpot community, and they have a solution-based approach to their community. So they go in and the user-generated content will actually help grow the community by answering questions that people have. The one thing that I would say globally works really well is being able to have a platform that allows that content delivery, as Pavlina was saying, but it's not just text, it's images and videos as well. So you need a platform that can support those formats. So
the way that we do it at markets.com, for example, we do have people that are like opinion leaders, let's say, in their field. That's where we have the markets.com social platform, which is actually a simple copy trading platform. But obviously, if you have somebody who just did a podcast or write an interesting article about something, if this person also is offering a copy trading strategy, this is then where you can take the content and turn this one into an active client that will be retained for a long while. So I think nowadays there are multiple platforms and ways that we can use this just to keep this retaining of the client active.
I would like to also add something, because I'm heavily involved with social media as a financial influencer, as some people say. And it's not that easy for a company to create this community on social media. For example, let's say one Forex company cannot just start a social media account now and get thousands and millions of followers. It takes a lot of time. And as Pavlina said, you have to be consistent with the content. You have to treat it as your full-time job, like Phidias does. It's his job. This is what he does from the morning until night. He works on his social media. Something that brokers can do is to find, they do it, some finance influencers and connect their brand with their name so they can bring more people to trade with them. This is like one fast, let's say, solution when building social media as Forex companies.
There are, the biggest difficulty actually is how to create this content as a company. And there is a risk in bringing influencers in because a lot of influencers have their own academies. So that's why most companies don't do it yet, and that's why they spend a lot more money in other marketing practices rather than investing in content. So if they're going to invest in especially video content where you put a face, of course we have AI now, but I don't like AI. You need to hire people that are content writers, and then you need to hire people that are willing to be employees and just speak on video and not sell their own community on the back end. I know this is a risk that companies take when they hire influencers. So when you hire an influencer, yes, do hire an influencer, but keep in mind that you need to also have your own content, and you need to have the agreements in place and figure out a way that, yeah, you don't...
It comes with some risks, of course,
yeah.
But I meant in the process of building your own social media, which takes time, you can bring more traders using this way.
Okay, few thoughts on this topic, to be honest. First is the regularity is the king. If you're posting something, it should be regular. I see a lot of video podcasts. They are happening every morning, depending on the time where the user is located. And users are following this type of things on the way to the office, or maybe it's in the evening. So regularity is the king. And second, there are two types of approaches. Yes, you can, as the company, follow everyone, build your presence, invest a lot of money in this, but you still will be a company for people. They will be following you just because you're a company. But you have a lot of limitations in terms of what you share, how you share, and what you can share. And sometimes it's better not to share something what you do there. And that's why I see a lot of companies are building their own influencers and helping them to grow. That's a big trend right now, to be honest. I see some companies, some brokers are taking, let's say, micro-influencers right now, helping them to grow, investing into them. That's what you've been saying. But also, they have some obligations, and they are, let's say, predictable. It should be predictable and should be controllable by the company as well. So these, let's say, collaborations are happening all the time, and I think that's one of the ways how brokers can use and leverage this in their preference in general.
I think the strongest card that brokers, companies have in creating content is that they can stress in their content that we follow compliance. They have to be transparent, they have to be authentic, they should use ethical marketing, and they should explain to people that we do ethical marketing and ethical content, follow the influencers, the other influencers outside us at your own risk. But when you come here, really, that's really powerful. When you come here, you will get, the right type of information. It's regulated. You're not going to be scammed. I think this is a major thing to do to build a trusted brand.
I think it's all very, very interesting and actionable insights that you guys are sharing. So I hope the audience is taking note because this is gold. Now, I do see two things that I want to separate from the whole conversation that we're having. There is one about how we're keeping the community engaged in-house and how we're keeping it engaged outside. So one of them is what Pavlina was just mentioning and what Styliana was mentioning, all of you mentioned it actually, of having a community that is outside of your platform, outside of your broker for multiple reasons. One of them, you were rightly pointing it out, that they will always perceive you as biased or having an embedded interest in whatever you're saying because you are representing these companies. So you obviously also want to have the outside where is non-biased and is building and is acquiring new users as well. But once you acquire the users in-house, you do need to have, and this is I think the biggest trend right now, because the influencer trend already started a few years ago, but the new trend is once you have already acquired those that started a few years ago, now brokers realize, okay, we acquire them, but they're living. So how do I make sure I keep them? Because the influencers, they work with multiple brokers. They work with me today, tomorrow with somebody else.
Whoever pays more.
Exactly. They go where the money is. So how do I make sure that once I acquire the traders, I can keep them engaged, and that's with my own content, my own features that are unique to my platform, the value added that I give them by being part of my community. They can be part of other communities outside, but what am I going to give them in my own tools that is going to keep them engaged with me in particular and not go with somebody else? So this is where the trend is going right now as to how to make your user experience amazing. And one of the things that is really kicking this up connects to my next point, which was AI. So we have the rise of AI across literally everything. I mean, I think that every panel that has been at the IFX has touched on AI, and probably everybody's tired of listening about it, but it is something that is changing businesses. So I am sure that each of you, in your own way, in your businesses, are exploring how to use AI. So I want to ask you from your own perspectives, how do you think, for your own businesses, the AI is helping you to grow the community, to keep them engaged, and how does that help in the retention of the clients at the broker's end?
And me, I would like to focus on AI more from a research perspective, to have it more like, because end of the day, what we need to do is to do the correct research so we know who is our client, and based on who it is, we can cater to them. So I think this is a place where we can implement AI in order to get all the valuable information. Now, if we are talking about content and how to keep people engaged, the topic is community. And I doubt that community can come from artificial intelligence. Especially after COVID and so on, I think people realized more that they like people, that they want to be around people. And we talked about influencers, we talked about webinars, and building communities would mean also, for example, doing events like we have today. So I highly doubt that an online event will have so many people joining like the event we have here, because people like the personal touch, people like to see people, people like to be around people. So I think AI should be more focused on the research, whereas everything else should still go through human hand in regarding to content and so on.
I completely agree with you on that one, Elena, as a content creation agency, of course. But also, I think there's definitely a place for AI, and it is, like you said, in the research, it's in the analytics. It can help you with the social listening, which is something Pavlina touched on earlier, so you can better understand your audience. The thing about AI that you need to understand is that for it to be accurate, it needs to work on large data sets. So that means you need to be able to be compliant to privacy laws. But the good thing is, and I was just reading an article in Forbes about this, is that 92% of people are willing to give over their data for a more personalized experience. So I think in that context, you can use AI to pull out those kind of understandings so that you can then create human content that resonates with people.
I mean, it's really so frustrating when these parameters are not well. Like, you can be on your social media and you see advertisement about, I don't know...
elevating your brand.
Yeah. Yeah, like things that are absolutely not related to you, or you're on YouTube and then you see just advertisement of things that have nothing to do with you, and it's just so frustrating. So obviously, I think it feels much better to give out some data about yourself so you see things only relevant.
I personally use AI every day. Sometimes I think, what would I do if I didn't have AI in my life? It replies my emails and these kind of things. And it gives me some ideas for content, but I cannot use AI to write the script for my videos because people follow me for my personality. And we have to combine AI with who we are and create something that people will love.
I think an interesting way to use AI with your community is not only setting up tools where people are getting personalized education, personalized signals. This is an important function of AI, but also have somebody at some stage teach them how to use AI to make better decisions, like how to use it themselves. All these tools that there are, we're going to have new tools coming up every month now. So teach them how to, do their own analysis. Like, this is very interesting because the top traders they like to make their own decisions. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, actually, we will talk a lot about AI, but to be honest, in the next few years, I think we will remove this AI. There are a lot of services with the addition of AI at the end, which we use right now. But looking at what platforms are doing, like Apple and Microsoft, I think that people will soon would not see the difference between, we don't talk about algorithm right now, right? Because it's just working, it's just there. Same with AI, so you just would not be talking about this. It's just like some black box, they do something for us and give us the result. That's what's happening. And same thing, that's why I think it's important to understand that all the platforms around us at some point will become smart. They will become more understanding about what we do, how we do, and when we have some free time to, for example, develop yourself. When you do trading, how often you do this. And the more services would know about us, the more they can do and the more they can help. And I think the brokers have to think how to build their, let's say, brokerage things into a life cycle of a normal person. When they do it and when they're like most let's say, receptive to all the advices, receptive to all the information, and that's where AI can help brokers to understand it better and to utilize these features and capabilities in their service.
Correct. I think that connects with Elena's point, and 100% I agree with it. I think that analysis, research, data is the one major thing that AI is going to help to make us leap forward. And I also agree that I think we're eventually going to stop talking that this is run by AI or not. Like, we're not even going to know, because we're going to assume, like, when somebody goes and says, search for this, you need to do a research. Nobody says search on the internet. Nobody would expect you to go and open the encyclopedia, because it's a given that you're going to go on the internet. So using AI, I think, is going to be exactly the same in a few years.
It reminds me, before people were saying, I found on the internet this and that. Yeah, but now, obviously, you're not saying this, right?
No.
You're just saying the name of the service, like, I found it on Wikipedia. I found it there, and that's what's happening.
Yeah. But I do think
They're
as well that
very rapidly as well, and 50, 70 years ago, we would be the ones that would stay at the house, and we wouldn't really be involved in any financial matters.
What's happening?
Traditionally, that was a man's thing, but
We have an invisible friend.
I thought, who's talking?
Out there, we're
other room.
working.
I have no idea what it is. Yeah, it's the AI.
It's here to correct us.
We're working hard towards this.
Anyway, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to continue.
Obviously,
So what I was going to say is that I actually think
a lot of products are built for men, but
The machine is taking over.
Sound routing problem. I think that's why we can hear the sound. That's very good.
Help them become more literate, help them
Siri,
to understand
shut
what
up.
the benefits of investing and why it's also important as well.
So
a lot of women do
I
feel
think
that
the part
keeping their
of
money in the bank is
the
safest
human
option,
connection, you
purely
mentioned
because they're
COVID.
not educated
I think it's
enough
very, very
on,
well pointed out,
on
because
why
we
they should
have
be
been
investing, right?
searching. Everybody was a
And
little bit saturated
there's
of human
also the
connection before
funding
COVID,
thing,
I
the
think, but then
funding
we have
gap,
all
which
realized
is
how
that
much
less than 3%
we actually
of
need to
VC
connect
money goes to women,
emotionally
and that's also
and
about educating
really
women
with
on
other
how they
people.
can-
Like,
the
we need
tools
to
that they can use to
exchange
get more,
energies.
funding, because
So
there are new
AI is
platforms
not going to
out there, and
help
also
us
there's a
cover
gap in the
with
market for
those
it.
needs.
There's a gap in the market to do more tools and do more apps for women to help them become more financially literate.
I really don't know where that's coming from. Yay! Thank you, Siri. So yeah,
It was just around the time we was talking about AI.
Yeah, I mean, they're listening, Big Brother. So, but it's one of the things that is going to have to eventually come to regulation and things like that. So I think that AI is eventually going to be regulated to a certain extent to these kind of features, maybe, because we are always going to look for the human. We're always going to look for these, the building the community, the having somebody on the other line, the type of humor that person uses.
It
you
happened
don't
to
agree?
me the other day. So I read this article about myself. Yes, I was surprised. It was about I changed job positions, and I read this article. And it was so nice. It was so flattering. And the wording and everything, I was like, wow, I don't even know these people. It's what a lovely article. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Later, I read the second article with the same wording. So I realized that both contents were from ChatGTP. So about the personal touch.
Disappointing, right?
Yes, it was
I
so
feel that
disappointing
it's
because
so
I was
really
happy
give
about the
back
article,
to
and then I
women
just
as well,
realized,
because
okay,
there is a
Wow,
I
again.
think less than 9% of fintech.
Yeah, ChatGPT are getting upset at me.
As well,
But yeah, I think it's really like all these content providers that we have around us, they're so gifted. They like you read an article and you know who wrote this article, and it's what people want. They want to know like if I read an article from you, I will know like your kind of humor that I will find in this article, and this is why I will follow your blog and I will read about you. If it was just something machinery generated, I guess after a while they will also be clever enough to copy your style of writing, but still I think people, maybe now not yet, they will get fooled like me. But I think with time, they will get more sensitive about it.
Whatsoever. So I joined a woman in business.
We have 5 minutes left, so maybe Styliana, I see that you want to add something to it, and then we will move to a short Q&A if Siri lets us.
Advice, sharing lots of knowledge, and
when I was
that I
starting
could do it as well,
the Selfmade Academy, the courses, I had two options: to have recording courses, which will be more time efficient for me, or to have live webinars, which I chose to do live webinars every week, and it seems to be the right thing to do because the way we empower each other, and they can be people know that whatever they need, whatever they want to ask, I'm there for them.
But sharing your knowledge and passing it
is very
down,
important in
for me,
building
that's
the
true
community
success,
that we build.
And
I can see that people this kind of approach
as well.
Hello.
Can I close the community part?
Go.
In my experience, because I've organized many events over the years, and I did webinars and online courses and academies, people want to connect in person. That's what they essentially want. We all find out during COVID. So make sure that you do organize some retreats, some nice events. All the traders I know in Cyprus, usually they're from some country in Europe, Germany. They live in a villa on their own, and somewhere in Beja or in Larnaca. They have a great need to connect. They have money. So if the brokers or the companies, they organize some nice retreats where people connect, they exchange ideas, they crave for that, actually, a lot of them, and they have the money. So I would highly encourage to start doing that as a company, to bring them out of the online platforms and do some, not like a big conference like that, but some more intimate retreats and gatherings and meetups.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all. I'm going to open the floor for questions. We have 3 minutes left. Is there any questions from the audience? No? Should we call Siri again? No questions? Oh, Laura has a question over there. And then there's another one here.
Okay.
Try now.
I can show it. Hello, hi, how are you? I'm Lara. As I know a few of you there. So you touch a lot on community and connectivity and a little bit on acquisition funnels, but tell me how to kind of bring a little bit more performance into that and not only organic, and just maybe expand on that side of it a little bit. Thank you.
That is a good question. I think it's related to tracking, right? If we're being very specific. How do you guys track the performance of these activities?
Okay, so am I heard?
Nope.
Now?
Nope.
Thank you. So firstly, you need to the objectives of why you have your community in place. Are you talking to IBs? Are you talking to retail traders? Are you talking to like a certain segment? So once you know who your audience is, then you can look at what you're trying to track, whether it's engagement, whether it's volumes. Having that through line all the way through, so you know exactly. So you have a connector, basically your community to your CRM, so you know exactly what you're getting for the effort that's been put in. Because when people say, "Oh, we got all these traders through organic," it's often organic. Organic doesn't mean free. It means that there's somebody working very hard for long hours to make that happen. So. And also, if you do things like gamification, which was a topic we were going to talk about and we didn't, unfortunately, it gives you a nice way to, through motivational engineering kind of activities, measure the ways in which people are engaging with you, how they're engaging and when they're engaging.
Thank you, Niki.
Yeah, well, since I'm the person who works in digital marketing, everything is measurable, first of all. All your investments, which you do in social media, in different platforms, are very much measurable. There are many platforms which allows you to understand what is engagement, how many clients came to you, what's the cost of the acquisition, and how you, let's say, can improve it in the next campaigns, how you do the remarketing campaigns and so on. Of course, it's all measurable. But also, the brokers, once they acquire the client, they should think about the measurability of the next actions which they do, how much people added money, how effective the channels and so on. So that's very important to think about this, to understand what's your ROI, first of all, if you do what's any kind of, let's say, actions which you did before. That's very important as well. And I think that was partially the question about, I hope, yeah? Not
kind of, but
kind of.
Okay. I think maybe after the panel you guys can have a chat. I'm also curious because we work a lot on, I mean, content is our nature. This is literally what we do through our portals, and it is often very difficult to show to the clients, you know, the impact of the content they are putting through us and things like that, because first of all the tracking is on their end, not ours, so we're not in control of that data. And second of all, because there is a lot of things that you cannot really track unless there is a specific keyword that is being clicked inside the content. You can show visibility and awareness, etc., but you cannot really track the impact that it has had, other than what Niki was suggesting, just if you do it only on a specific type of asset or activity, and then you just measure the impact of the growth of that trading. That would be my take, but I think we haven't cracked that one. But if you have a different insight, I'm also happy to hear after. There was another question there, and that will be the last one we take.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate about the content part that you mentioned for the community, Pavlina, thank you for that. But I have a question about the influencer. You said that there are some risks for the fintech company, that the influencer can grab the audience from the community and like take out for this block, yeah, for his block or her block. But why you do not look at the option to use creator, like the person who understands how to create the content, but do not influencer, not micro-influencer, just person like creator, created the content?
Yeah. I think this is what I was trying to say, like hire a creator, somebody who is a behind-the-scenes person. We have a great example in Cyprus. We have a company called Soul Publishing, and they have billions of views on YouTube, and they don't use influencers. They have a policy, because they know that if they put an influencer in the company, they're going to build their brand, and the influencer is going to go and make their own money. So they hire actors and content creators. And so this is what you can do. And then what Evgeny said, you have some agreements with some micro-influencers. So if you build them up, they don't take your community.
They don't take your community, yes, and not start like immediately promoting any other broker, for example, on the market. That's also very important, yeah.
I think the influencers, you use them to leverage their community. You give them some good commissions, and you just allow them to build their own community, and then you leverage them like that.
What companies can do is to have a strong contract with these influencers. It's different when I'm outside of the company, and the way I approach the client, I say, I got for you a 10% discount if you click this link to get into to be a trader of this company. But someone that is, we mentioned this before, someone that is inside the company, the viewer will immediately think that this person is trying to get something out of me.
I think the reason why we would use an influencer is mainly also to build trust. For example, let's talk about something basic. What's this guy's name? The actor that is for Nescafe?
George Clooney.
Thank you, guys. George Clooney. If George Clooney drinks it, I have to drink it. I trust George Clooney. So that's, I think, the kind of thing with influencers. It's not just that they do this wonderful content. It's also, I think, the image of this influencer, and that you trust this person. And if this person goes to this broker, obviously I have to go there as well, because they wouldn't go there if they didn't trust the company. Now, there is a high likelihood that it's the motivation behind this money, that they're with this company and not trust. But still, I think the main issue, the main reason people will go to a company due to an influencer will be the trust.
And I think if, like with your IBs or with your influencers, and even with your employees, or whether you have an employee that's being the front person for your company, all those people can move on. So how you work as a company and your ethos is what's key at the end of the day, and how transparent, how trustworthy that you are.
Thank you all. We're going to leave it in here. I'm going to ask you a big, big round of applause for our panelists because they have been really great. Thank you, guys.